Hi guys. Welcome to my first tutorial for the year. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create this 3D text animation in Cinema 4D. Then afterwards show you how to add particles in After Effects. So let's see what we will be creating today. Jump into Ikson Cinema 4D. Next click on the More Graph button and select Mo Text in the menu that appears. Select on the text layer. Then on this tab below click on Object. Change the align mode from left to middle. For the font I'm using my all-time favorite, the Cyberdyne Font. Links to where you can get this font will be down in the video description below. Make sure the text layer is selected. Now change the depth to 100. Edit the text to your liking. I'm using the word drive. Change the height to 250 centimeters. Leave everything else as it is. Now click on the Caps tab. Then set both the front and end caps to fillet cap. Then change the steps to 6 and radius to 2 for both caps. Scroll down and click on the Constraint checkbox. Then change the type from n-gons to quadrangles. Hit the regular grid checkbox and then change the width to 30 centimeters. Nice. Click on More Graph again and select Polyfix. Select the Polyfix object and make it a child of the Mo Text like this. Now in the Attributes tab below, under the object, make sure the mode is set to Full Pillars. Now, click on More Graph again and this time select the Cloner object. Select the Mo Text and make it a child of the cloner. Change the count value from 3 to 1. Leave everything else as it is. Click on the Simulate tab and select Cloth, then Cloth Surface. Select the cloner object and drag it into the cloth surface to make it a child. Select the cloth surface object, then in the Attributes tab, change subdivisions to 0. Thickness to 2 centimeters. Perfect. Click on this empty space to deselect everything. Then click on More Graph, Effectors and select Plane. Select the Plane Effector. In the Attributes tab, click on Fall Off and then add the linear field. Click on Parameters, then change the Y value to 0, and the Z value to 60. Click on the Scale checkbox. Then change the scale X and Y value to 0.64 and 0.7 respectively. Next tick on the Rotation checkbox. Then change the rotation values to 43, 14 and 87 degrees respectively. Next click on Polyfix and then click on Effectors in the Attributes tab. Select the Plane Effector and drag it into the Effectors panel. And aha, we have this cool fractured effect. You can reposition the linear field and scale it to your desired size. This is of course for those who used more than 100 in their text depth. Let's animate the position of this linear field. Click on Coordinates. Let's zoom out a little bit. Then position the linear field to the left of our text. Make sure you are on frame 0, then click on this circle to add a keyframe for X position. Move this green marker to the 90 frames mark. Then move the linear field to the opposite end of the text. Click to add a keyframe for the X position. Hit play to see the animation. Let's increase the animation length. Simply type 150 here. And then slide this marker to the end. Now let's hit play and see. Next we will make this scene look better. Let's start by adding a backdrop. Long click on this cube icon and select plane. Let me delete this cube. We won't need it. Now select the plane object. Then in the Attributes tab, click on Object. Change its width and height to 3,800 cm and 5,750 cm respectively. Click on Coordinates. Change the Y value to -300. And the Z value to 850 cm. As you will see in the next few seconds, I made a mistake while recording this video. I changed the rotation B property to -90 degrees. And you will see me try to correct this error later on. Next we need to add the bend deformer. Click on this icon and select the bend deformer. Then select the bend object and make it a child of the plane. With the bend deformer selected, go down to the Attributes panel and click on Object. Change size X to 0. Size Y to 420 cm. Size Z to 3,500 cm. Increase the strength value to around 90 degrees. Click on Coordinate and change the last rotation value to -90 degrees. This backdrop is facing in the wrong direction. And this is because of the mistake I made earlier. But if you made the same mistake as me, you can correct it by rotating the plane object. Grab the rotation tool and orient the plane in the right direction. Perfect. Let's add a camera to our scene. Click on this camera icon. With the camera object selected, change the positions X, Y and Z to 0 in the Attributes tab. The camera is angled slightly. Let's change the rotation values back to 0. Also move the camera backwards. Click on this icon to go into the camera view. Unclick on it. Let's adjust some camera settings. In the Object tab, change the focal length from classic to wide angle. And the sensor size to 70 mm. Go back into the camera view. But first let's position the camera. Click on this green arrow and drag upwards to push the camera up. Click into the camera view. You can use these navigation buttons to position the camera. Just make sure to have something close to mine. Let's animate the camera. Make sure you are on frame 150, then add a keyframe for the camera Z position. Move the time marker to the beginning of the animation. Pull the camera forward towards our text object to a position like so. Then click to add a keyframe for the Z position. Good. Press the play button to view the animation. Next we need to edit the speed curves to make the animation better. Click on Window and select Timeline F Curve. A new window with the speed graph will pop up. Let's enlarge this window first. Think of these timeline curves similar to that in Adobe After Effects. The steeper the slope, the faster the animation. Just try and adjust yours similar to mine. The animation looks good. Now we need to create textures. Simply click on this Create button and select New Material. Double-click on the material to open its settings. Click on Color. Change the hue, saturation and vibrance percentages to 52, 100 and 100 respectively. Next, click on Luminance and make sure to tick the checkbox beside it. Under Luminance, change the HSV values to 28%, 100% and 100% respectively. Adjust the brightness value to 60%. Click on Reflectance. Select the default specular. Change the type from Specular Blend to Fong Legacy. Adjust the width to 74%. Change also the specular strength to 30%. Click on Add and select Reflection Legacy. Next select the default specular and drag it on top of Layer 1. Perfect. Select the Layer 1. Change the specular strength to 0%. Toggle the layer color settings. Change the brightness percentage to around 20%. Close the material editor window. Select the material and apply it on the cloner object. Create a new material. This will be the material for the backdrop. Double-click on the material to open the material editor. In the color channel, change the vibrance value to 10%. Click on this button and a texture gradient. Double-click on the gradient, then change the type to 2D circular. Select Not 2 and change its vibrance value to 11%. Actually make it lighter. Change the V value to 25%. Leave everything else default and then apply this material to the plane object. Let's add the lights to the scene. Click on File and then select Merge. Now the Cinema 4D file we are going to use is available to download for free from our Patreon page. While you are there, please support the channel. Click on Open and then close this warning window. As you can notice, there are 3 new objects that have been added to the scene. Select the floor and background and delete it from the scene. We already have our own background and floor. Click to go out of the camera view. Let's position these lights appropriately. Select this overhead softbox and position it directly above our text object. Next, make a duplicate of the softbox. Simply click on Edit Copy. And then click on Edit and then Paste. A pop-up window will appear showing some blah blah blahs. Simply click on Yes. Now toggle open the duplicate softbox null object. Select the front of softbox and then in the viewport window, move the softbox to the right. Try to position it like mine. You can grab the rotation tool and orient the softbox as required. Cool. Now go back into the camera view. One of these softbox is visible through the camera. Let's try and push it out of frame a little. Toggle out of the camera view. Then grab this softbox object and move it like this. You can click to view through the camera and check whether the softbox is still in frame and then adjust it accordingly. Now let's change some render settings. Click on this gear button. For this tutorial we will use the default standard renderer. Click on anti-aliasing. Then change the type to best. Perfect. Next click on Output. Change the width to 1920 and the height to 1080 pixels. Make sure the frame rate is 30. Change the frame range from current frame to all frames. Next click on Effect and add both ambient occlusion and global illumination. Select global illumination and change the gamma amount to 1.2. Click on Irradiance Cache and change the recording density from medium to low. Next click on Save. Then change the format to PNG. Change the depth also to 16-bit channel. Next you need to set the file location. Click on the button with dotted lines. Next create a new folder. This is where all the PNG files will be saved to. First specify the file name. I'm naming mine to Output. Next click on New Folder. I'll rename it to Output 2. Double click into the folder and then click on Save. Let's create a preview of the final render. But first let's turn off the ambient occlusion effect. Leave the global illumination on. Now click on this button to generate a render. A pop window will appear saying some files are missing, just click on OK. Rendering times may differ depending on your system configuration. This looks good. But the backdrop appears to be too low. Adjust the position like this. Click on the Render Settings button and turn back on the ambient occlusion effect. Close this window and then click on the Render to Picture Viewer button. This will initiate the rendering of all frames. But before this, make sure to save the project file. Click on File, then Save, specify the file name and where you want to save it. Then click Save. Now click the Render to Picture Viewer button. This may take a while. Grab a burger and a can of soda as you wait for it to churn through the frames. After the render finishes, open up Adobe After Effects. Here we are in After Effects. Create a new composition. Make the width 1920 and the height 1080. Frame rate to 30 and duration to 5 seconds. Then click OK. Double-click on the Project tab. Then navigate to where the PNG files were saved. Now click on the first PNG image. Make sure to tick the PNG sequence checkbox and then click on Import. Drag this sequence into the timeline. Then in the Project File folder, you will find a particles footage. Import this footage into After Effects. Then drag it into the timeline. Next we need to change the mode of this footage. Click on Toggle Switches and Modes. Change the mode from normal to screen. As you can see, the particles color is not the same as our text color. Let's try and fix it. In the Effects and Presets window, search for the black and white effect. Then apply this effect to the particles footage. Go back to the 0 seconds mark. Then in the Effects Control tab, grab this eyedropper tool and select this orange color. Make sure to tick the checkbox next to the tint effect. Now drag this footage layer to the left like this. Create a new adjustment layer. Then head over to the Effects and Presets tab. This time look for the Curves effect. Apply this to the adjustment layer. Now edit the RGB curve like this. Look for the sharpen effect and apply it to the adjustment layer. Then change the sharpen amount to 4. Select all these layers. Then right-click and select Pre-compose. Make sure to select the Move All Attributes option and click OK. Now turn on the title action safe by clicking this icon. Make sure nothing is selected in the timeline and then select the rectangular tool. Then drag to draw a rectangle like this. Perfect. Now click on the Toggle Switches button to toggle the modes. Then change the Track Matte option for the pre-comp to Alpha Matte. Now turn off the title action safe. Cool. Run preview the animation. Thanks for sticking by up to this part of the video. You can find the project files for this tutorial on our Patreon page. Please subscribe, share and support this channel. Thanks for watching. I will see you soon. Cheers.